So this is from last semester. I remember we definitely went over things like that. We went through musical examples. But fully diminished 7 chords as applied chords. So just like, you can take any dominant seventh of something and point it to a new key, you can take a fully diminished 7 chord and point it to a new chord. This happens, like a lot of our chromatic phenomena, it happens more often in minor, because that's sort of where you're going to find the diminished 7 sound a little bit more often. But to kind of go through this little progression, you're going to see that this is a way to get chromatic passing tones into your bass line. We always like to do this sort of, do that by adding, you can always add the 5/7 of something. In much the same way, you can add the 7/7 of something. So for example, if you look from the 3rd chord to the 4th chord, going on there to the 2nd beat, you're going from 1, and we want to go to its minor 2, which is here, something like that. But you can throw in a 7/7 of 2 in much the same way as you could do its applied dominant. It's just going to look a little bit different and sound a little bit different. So that chord will be something like, that's the applied chord, and it goes right here. So I'm giving you this, as I said, a hint. You will be asked, there are a couple of these on the exam, where instead of 5/7 of something, there is 7/7 of something. So the effect, the rule of thumb with fully diminished 7 chords is always, almost always, mismatched accidentals. You've got the raised bass tone. That's what's going to point to the new key, the new chord. 7/7 of 2 means that you have to have sharp 1 in this case that points to 2. But you'll also have something up in an upper voice that is lowered, because that fully diminished 7 chord has to be made up of only minor thirds. So it's going to have an extra accidental in there. So whether that's part writing, that's something that's easy to miss, or if it's analysis, it's easy to look at one of these chords and go, wait, what is that? What is it doing? How can I stack it up? All the intervals are symmetrical. So you want to find the one that goes by half step to a 2 chord. Because if we think about this, and this is elsewhere in this packet, these chords are interchangeable. So this is the chord that you're working with. All minor thirds. So wherever you start it, there's no, main inversion. So actually, this chord, this can be, for example, 7 fully diminished 7 of 2, just thinking in the key of C here. So C sharp goes to D. But it can also be, for example, 7 fully diminished 7, let's see, instead of saying it's fully diminished of 2, let's do letter names. E, so that means it can be 7 fully diminished 7 of F, 7 fully diminished 7 of A flat, or 7 fully diminished 7 of B or C flat. So these chords can kind of go anywhere, so you have to be very sensitive to them, and you have to be looking for the root of where it's going. This really is the all-important, where is this chord going to go? You have to figure out what this one is, and then that's going to help you figure out how do I, label this. Eric.
But you can eliminate some of those options, right? Because of the inharmonic tones.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's not as if all options are equally likely.
Right.
Or, you know, looking at this, you're not going to look at this chord and say, that really looks like we're modulating to A flat.
Right.
You know, you're not going to make these mistakes necessarily. But what I'm trying to say is you need to stack this chord up, figure out where it's going, and then figure out, okay, is there a half step to that? And then from there, figure out, okay, is this fully diminished, half diminished, something like that. Right. So the musical example just shows that a little bit in action. And the back page of this just sort of illustrates that principle and another one, which is that fully diminished seventh chords are very closely related to a bunch of other seventh chords. So any fully diminished seventh chord, such as C fully diminished 7, is only a half step away from a B dominant seventh chord. You know, if you lower C down to B, or could be only a half step away from an E flat seventh chord, which would be, do this. Raise C up, you get an E flat fully diminished 7, or half diminished 7.